Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Welcome to the bonus show. AOL. David, correct me if I'm wrong, but you still have an AOL email address that you use, right?
I have an America Online email address that I've had for incredibly long. It's mostly spam, but there are still some important things that go there. I just need to switch them off. The thing is, I don't remember all of them. So I just keep it and check the email once a day.
Well, you might be shocked to learn. I was shocked to learn. I think most people would be shocked to learn that people are still paying for AOL subscriptions. On average, those people who are paying $20.86 a month. And the important question here is how many people? 2.3 million people are currently still subscribed to AOL.
Do you think, are the AOL chat rooms still alive? Are people in there?
Well, I'm sure there are some that people are in because out of 2.3 million people, you have to assume some of that's still going on.
Now that you're saying this, I think when I get home tonight, I'm going to sign into AOL and I'm going to see, like, are there chat rooms? Are people in them? What are they talking about? I haven't been in a chat room for probably like 18 years or something like that.
It would make for a good follow-up to this story. What about MIRC? That's still a thing? I'm pretty sure people still use that.
Yeah, I haven't been on that in a really long time either.
All right. Well, AOL, I guess, took home $143 million of operating income, maybe last year, but from that division, from their subscriptions. So that's how we get the number of people are paying an average of $20.86 per month, and that price has actually gone up a little bit. I would have to imagine that these are people in areas where the tech world just hasn't really caught up. Is that what you think is happening? I mean,
yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say.
And I assume this also has to be dial-up service.
Well, that's the thing. I think the people who are using AOL are mostly in places where they have no choice but to have dial-up.
Crazy stuff. Yeah, but they are, there are people dropping. They have fewer and fewer subscribers every year. But
remember CompuServe, Lewis, and Prodigy?
Net Zero.
Yep.
What are some of the other ones? Those were the big ones, really.
Yeah.
Man, that was crazy. Crazy times. I remember just those first modems and how long it took for web pages that, if we were to look at them today, we would be shocked at how simple they were.
Yeah.
And those web pages took so long to appear, but we thought it was fast. Yeah.
I remember when I went from a 28.8K modem to a 56K modem, and it was just, it was a whole new world. You could download images in a minute each instead of 2 minutes each.
Incredible. I still remember that I could, when connecting to the internet with those modems and listening to all those sounds it would make, we did it so often that I could hear when something went wrong, and I knew that I would not connect because of anomalies or changes in those tones.
Yeah.
And static. It was like a mix between static and tones and beeping and wow. It was a whole bunch of obnoxious noise, really. Yeah. Anyway, the Army camouflage debacle. I don't know if I talked about this. Do you remember if I talked about this?
It's not ringing a bell offhand.
Okay. Do you remember when the Army changed their camouflage?
Yes.
They changed to that weird digital pixelated camo. That was, it turned out to be a total disaster. And they spent billions on this, the research and the licensing or whatever, the uniforms themselves. But the uniforms didn't actually work. It actually made the soldiers less safe. The scale of the patterns in the camo were badly chosen. It triggered an optical effect called isoluminance, which in the eye interprets many patterns and colors as and it colors it as a single mass. So it basically made the soldiers more visible. And so the Army decided that they, after spending tons of money on this and not even realizing what the fuck they were doing, needed a fix. So they adopted a stopgap pattern for troops in Afghanistan, licensing a pattern from called Multicam from a Brooklyn-based company called Crye Precision. It's spelled C-R-Y-E. I assume that's how it's pronounced. It also launched the Camouflage Improvement Effort in 2010, which was a competition to find and test the next pattern from a group of 4 final security design teams. And the entrants included Crye Precision. Okay? This just gets more and more ridiculous. The Army spent more than 4 years on the Camouflage Improvement Effort, and 4 finalists were announced in 2012. By 2014, they were still delaying the announcement of the winner. And I guess what happened here is spring turned into summer. The announcement never came. And instead, the Army released a statement saying it would be adopting a pattern from none of its finalists. Okay? In fact, it was taking, it would adopt a pattern it designed itself at Natick Research Center. And that was their statement then. They said it would be called Operational Camouflage Pattern, and it wouldn't repeat the mistakes of the old one. It would be fiscally responsible. The new pattern is an updated version of the camo developed by Crye under a 2002 Army contract. Basically, what the Army ended up doing was, the 2014 Defense Authorization Act required Army forces to choose a single pattern to work with across all services. And Congress made it so that they had to pick a pattern that was already in the military's library. They ended up using something they had already licensed from before 2002 after billions of dollars and all of this nonsense.
There's 2 views on this, though, right? One view is hugely wasteful, insane. We waste so much money on projects that don't end up happening, fighter planes that end up not working, etc.
But there is something to be said for research and development and trial and error.
That's what I was getting at, which is if you are to have big successes, you're going to have a bunch of stuff that fails. And of course, if you could only invest money in the successes, you would do it, but that's just not the way research and development works. You could also just have kind of an intermediate view, which is, well, yes, you need to do research and development, and you are going to lose some of that money, but let's try to do it in a slightly more fiscally conservative way.
And there are good things that come from this type of research and development. And when you're talking about technology, weapons, planes, tanks, these are expensive things. And weapons, in some cases, it's worth the money to have these failures because of what you learn from it. But this is camouflage. This is simple stuff. This was a simple pattern that clearly no experts were involved with the decision-making process. And I don't know. They must have been hiring, who were they hiring, David? Just artists? How could they not see this? Billions of dollars wasted. And it's just camouflage. Any expert could have told you that original design that turned out to be a shit one would not have worked. All right. Moving on. Japan is creating a militarized program to deal with space junk. The space junk problem is huge. And I guess estimates are that there are about 3,000 individual pieces of trash orbiting Earth right now at incredible speeds. And they are all deadly weapons basically flying around our planet. And no other agency or country has even made an attempt to try and rein this in. But Japan is announcing that it will launch a space garbage collection net by 2019 and creating an entire militarized force to monitor and control the debris from the ground. And this is a very positive thing. And recently, I just watched Gravity for the first time.
Huh.
Have you seen Gravity?
I saw it without the sound, on a recent flight because the person next to me was watching it. But so I know what happens, but I don't know the detail of it.
All right. Well, in the beginning, it is space debris that causes this whole disaster. That it basically is the whole point of the movie. This space debris hits their ship in the space station, and it causes complete chaos. And it's terrifying in that movie. It's incredibly well done, and yeah, I think everyone should watch that. But that's essentially what people are, what we have to consider when we send people into space. And
yeah, it's like let's not really pollute outer space yet. Let's try to wait on destroying outer space. We're still working on not destroying this planet first.
Yeah. So this is what Japan is doing, and good for them. Someone needs to do it. Of course, most of that debris is not from Japan. They did not put it there, but they're going to be the ones to clean it up. And it could mean fewer problems in the future for everyone.
I'm very, very interested in visiting Japan, actually. I was just talking to some people about it. My interest level in visiting Japan is maybe the highest for that entire region of the world, actually.
Same here. I would love to go to Japan, but I need people to go with me. And the ideal situation would be, I know you can rent guides and stuff like that, but someone who knows their way around. I mean, that would be the best.
Interestingly enough, one of my dad's close friends has a son right now who's around my age who is living in Japan, and he was living in Tokyo for a while. Now he's moved to Kyoto. He has a Japanese girlfriend. They're Italian, by the way. So he went from Italy to Japan, and he loves it. He thinks he's staying, but that's definitely someone who could be a great tour guide if I were to visit.
Yeah, I would be very interested in going to Japan. I'd want to see so many different cities and places, and it's been high on my list for a long time. It's also very far away, very expensive.
Yeah, well, being there is very expensive, but the flights actually, I often get flight deals where you can get a ticket for $850 nonstop from New York City, which is really a pretty good price given the distance.
Okay, that's not bad at all. I actually have a hard time believing a deal that good exists on a nonstop flight from New York to Japan. But hey, if you say it's true, I'm going to take your word for it.
It's very limited days, you know what I mean? Most of the dates that you look up aren't that, but sometimes I'll get these notifications saying if you travel between these and these dates and it's this one flight, and it may be $850 plus $150 in taxes. I don't remember exactly, but I remember seeing it and thinking, oh, that seems like a lot less than what I would expect.
Yeah. And like you said, Japan itself is very expensive. Tokyo has been, I think, one of the top 5 most expensive cities in the world for a long time. So yes, that one will take a chunk out of my funds, but it'd be worth it. But yeah, that's it for today. Go Japan. Way to step up.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.